The player power rankings are back. And here we go, ranking position by position, the top 10 in the world on a rugby field, and then overall. That's what I'm going to be doing over the coming videos, and starting with loose head prop today. I did this first, but was it about 6 months ago when I just started on the channel? And yeah, it'll be quite interesting to see how the top 10 lists have changed. There's a lot of new entries into, I sound like I'm doing a music chart, a lot of new entries into this loose head prop top 10, and a lot of movement up and down within it as well. As ever, this should stimulate some discussion. You may well disagree, in which case get stuck in the comments. That is what they're there for. Hit like on the video. It tells other people I exist, and so you don't miss any more videos coming ahead of and during the Rugby World Cup when I will be out in France. Hit subscribe on the channel. Thank you very much. I'm Tim. This is Egg Chasers. And let's crack on then with loose head prop. And at number 10, ELLIS GENGE, who has dropped down the list quite significantly. And I mean, you may well think he's quite fortunate to be in the top 10. He's been relatively ineffective compared to how he has been in the past. But again, the way I'm judging this is on current form, past form, and just gut feeling about where players are at. And I want you to do exactly the same. It's too easy just to go, they played a good game last weekend, therefore they're up the list. They played badly, therefore they're down. So I want to be a little bit fairer than that. And ELLIS GENGE, he's 28 years of age. He's England's vice-captain, a very abrasive ball carrier, closing in on 50 caps, which he should get if England manage to get out of their pool at the Rugby World Cup. That's a big if, the way it's going. But I have to say with ELLIS GENGE, the reason he's dropped down the list is some of his fundamentals have gone missing, but that goes for the England team as well. I think he's one of those figures that when he plays well, England play well. So they'll be looking to him to be a bit of a talisman. But ELLIS GENGE at number 10. At number 9, a new entry onto the list, REDA WARDI. He's proved himself a really good backup for CYRIL in that French team. Both of them have been absent, injured in some of the warm-up games, and they've had to go down the depth chart. And they've done okay, but they have missed those guys. And REDA WARDI, relative newcomer to international rugby. It's about a year since his debut. Plays for La Rochelle. He's won 2 European titles with them. And whenever he's been called on by France, and I think he's just into double figures with his caps now, he has looked a bit of he's an animal. He's a bull of a player. And he's at 28 years of age, prime. And I think deserves to be in the top 10. So there he is. Another new entry to the top 10 is Danilo Fischetti, I think, one of the most improved rugby players on earth in the last year. He has emerged, and again, another relatively young guy who has emerged and has taken to international rugby brilliantly. He was at London Irish, they went bust. He's now going back to Zebre, where he was before in Italy. And he's a big part of Italy's future, a fast improving team. And he does the fundamentals, but it's the work, the modern style prop work he does around the park. He's a baller, and I really like Danilo Fischetti. He's at number 8. Number 7 is the first of the South Africans. Yeah, he plays for Scotland. But all right, just every other nation, England included, are at it. So South Africa are so good, particularly at scrummaging, that they can have players playing for other nations as well. PIERRE SCHOEMAN is a massive fun bus of a man. Just look at him. He's huge. And he has really added something to Scotland. They've always had the flair, and with guys like Darcy Graham and Finn Russell, and they've always had like real good workmen like back rows and locks. Props, such a key position, and PIERRE SCHOEMAN has just added. I think he's been a big reason for Scotland's consistency over the last couple of years, and he's moved himself up the list a couple of spots to number 7. At number 6, another new entry to the top 10, and in at number 6, Angus Bell, a real youngster. He's 22 years of age. I'm so excited about this guy. He's massive for starters, just closing in on 20 stone, but he can shift. Massive ball carrier, and if you saw the Australia scrum against France at the weekend, there were lots of things that Australia can improve on. Scrummaging was actually one of the strengths. Angus Bell, long-term injury, has come back and made a massive impact. He's going to have a big few years ahead. Love him. Into the top 5 then, NCHE, who's gone down a little bit, but partly that's, because he spent a bit of time out. One of the best scrummagers in the world. He's kind of like a modern-day Oz Durant, just this giant, humongous rib cage, loves to scrummage all day, but can shift and can put in some ball carries when he needs to. He's a wrecking ball of a player. Really like him. And yeah, he's at number 5 as we go. At number 4, Ethan de Groot, another one of the young, really fast improving players in world rugby. Yeah, he had a horrible time of it against Franz Mullerbert last weekend just gone. But he's been class in the Rugby Championship. He's added a level of solidity in that New Zealand scrum that they haven't seen for a couple of years. He is class, and that's why he's gone up the list to number 4. Number 3, then Andrew Porter, who drops down. And I think that's reflective of the fact that occasionally, and sometimes it just depends, I don't know whether it's that he has hot and cold days or whether it's just it depends on who he's up against. There's the odd game where he can get mullered in the scrum, and there's the odd game where he can just go and absolutely destroy his opposite number, and he can give away the odd penalty as well. But I'm splitting hairs here because he's the 3rd best loosehead prop in the world, in my estimation, and he's a massive part of the improvement in the Island pack over recent years, and I expect him to have a huge World Cup. His work around the park is excellent as well. So Andrew Porter at number 3 behind CYRIL BAILLE, who, yeah, hasn't been able to play but had been injured, and France are going to miss him for that New Zealand game. But he'll be ready come quarter-final time, and he'll have a massive, massive say in whether France can win a first World Cup. He is a class player. Part of the Toulouse camp in the French squad, modern prop. He'll get to 50 caps during the World Cup. He's 29 years of age. Everything about CYRIL BAILLE says prime. This is him in his prime. If he's going to have a big impact at a Rugby World Cup, it's at this one on home soil. He is my number 2. Leaving still at number 1, Stephen Kitsoff, the spicy plum. He is just the best loosehead prop in the world. Best all-round game, devastating scrummager, nasty, nasty piece of work in the best possible way, and exactly the kind of player. He would start for every other international team on earth were he in that nation. Hence, he has to be number 1. Do you agree? There is the top 10, the loosehead props. By the way, the players who dropped out of the top 10 from the last time I did it: Thomas Gallo of Argentina, Guram Gogichashvili of Georgia, and Danny Priso of France. The new faces: REDA WARDI, Danilo Fischetti, and Angus Gardner. You can see Andrew Porter and NCHE among the names dropping down. Gardner, de Groot moving themselves. Just de Groot moving himself up the list a little bit. That is the loosehead prop. More coming. So hit subscribe on the channel, and I will see you on the next one, which will be hooker.